Welcome to Freda Chando Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. My voice is pathetic. I was supporting France, and so I really shouted yesterday, so you'll bear with the coarse voice. If you're watching this channel for the first time, kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our videos. William Samoei Ruto is a very crafty and shrewd politician. He has mastered the art of Kenyan politics, and this is because he worked very closely with the former president, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. And later, he worked with Raila'S. Now, in the history of Kenyan politics, Daniel Moi and Raila'S have stood out to be the two most enigma in politics. In fact, Moi was given a name, the professor of politics, because he knew how to manage Kenyan politics in his time. He managed to keep at bay the opposition, all of them trying to disintegrate them into pieces, into tribal parties, until in 2002 when he realized he was tired, then he decided to call it quits and proposed to Uhuru Kenyatta, who was defeated by Mwai Kibaki. And Raila'S in his time has been a thorn in the flesh of every government that comes in. Many of his supporters believe that in every election since 2007, he has been winning, but forces are combining to rob him of his victory. So William Ruto, having worked with these leaders, he knows very well how Kenyan politics should be conducted. And if you've been studying his politics of late, he is busy implementing every bit of the lesson that he learned from Daniel Moi and from Raila'S. So currently, he is very busy preparing for 2027. If you look at the political machinations around the IEBC, experts believe that William Ruto wants a team that will listen to him. You see, last election, William Ruto suffered a kind of humiliation when the 4 dissenting commissioners walked away and distanced themselves from the result that was announced by Wafula Chebukati. And this really is casting aspersions in Ruto's legitimacy. So he doesn't want such a thing to happen again. So he's trying to make sure that he will have a new, fresh team that will be busy crafting what will happen in 2027. The other thing that William, together with his deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, is doing is that they want to ensure that they wreck Azimio party. Because that is the main political challenger. The main political nemesis for William Ruto is Azimio. And you see, Azimio is a combination of many parties. Mainly Jubilee, ODM, Wiper, and all the other smaller parties, DAB, all those parties that support Azimio. Immediately after the last presidential election, William Ruto bought the loyalty of the UDM party from Rift Valley. I think that one of Kuria Tani and those leaders from Northeastern. And so every day, William Ruto crafts a plan to ensure that he cuts off the branches of Azimio. And one of the things that he did recently was to engineer an altercation within KANU. And he used Nick Salat, who is a long-serving Secretary General and a very good friend of the KANU chairman, Gideon Moi. William Ruto wanted to remain as the undisputed king in Rift Valley. We all understand that he engineered the defeat of Gideon Moi in Baringo Senate, and then defeated Raymond Moi in the Rongai constituency when he tried to vie to become a member of parliament. But he's not yet done with them. He wanted to ensure that even KANU party that belongs to Moi family is wrecked to the ground. But Azimio was also looking at these movements, and they did not take it lying down. So when Nick Salat mentioned some outrageous statements where he was trying to undermine the leadership of the office in KANU, where he said that since 2012, all the leaders have been occupying the offices as interim officials, because he was saying that they were never officially elected. And he had called on Gideon Moi to step aside so that they can re-elect new leaders, leaders who can take KANU to the next level, because he was saying that KANU lacks fresh ideologies and that KANU cannot keep up with the prevailing political circumstances in Kenya. And they said that if KANU has to remain relevant and to face 2027, they needed fresh blood. Gideon Moi did not like the statements, and he called very quickly the National Executive Board, which sat down and looked into the statements by Nick Salat, and they suspended Mr. Nick Salat for 30 days, pending scrutiny into his statement, where they will either kick him out or reinstate him. But Nick Salat said that he does not recognize the suspension because he claimed that Gideon Moi does not have the capacity to call such a meeting, since he is only in office as an interim chairman. With this, Azimio knew that if KANU is dismantled, and Rigathi Gachagua on the other side is also trying to dismantle Jubilee, because he had given the Jubilee leaders, whom he calls prodigal sons and daughters, up to 31st to come back to their umbrella, UDA. So the Azimio fraternity knew that there is a plan to ensure that Azimio remains with ODM and therefore will be termed as a Luo affair. So acting on an advice from the Azimio luminaries, Raila Amolo Odinga and Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, Gideon Moi decided to accept all the demands that Nick Salat wanted, because apparently they had thought that Gideon Moi would not accept to go for an election. So what Gideon Moi did was very simple. He called on all the 47 branch chairmen and branch chairpersons to ratify the decision to suspend Nick Salat. Because Nick Salat had said that Gideon Moi perhaps was acting unilaterally. Gideon Moi did the right thing. He called all of them in their Kabarak home. They discussed, and yesterday, the Isiolo branch chairperson, Madam Abdikadir, said that all of them had discussed the conduct of Nick Salat and they have ratified the suspension, which is now legal according to the party manifesto and the party structures. So where does this leave Nick Salat? Because Nick had thought that by trying to engineer these altercations, he will portray Gideon Moi as one person who is manifesting unilateral decisions, and therefore maybe Moi will remain alone. Remember that KANU is the oldest party in Kenya, and Gideon Moi and the Moi family holds KANU very dearly into their hearts, because this party is a party that their father ruled on for 24 years. And when Gideon Moi inherited this party, it was a very vibrant party. It is only because of opposition from William Ruto that has ensured that Gideon Moi has only 4 members of parliaments in Rift Valley. And I think they are trying to pick up from the pieces. They really performed dismally in the last elections, because even the chairman himself was defeated in Baringo's senatorial race. His brother, whom they had hoping, Raymond Moi, tried his hand in Rongai constituency. He was also humiliated by a UDA luminary. So William Ruto wanted to ensure that he finishes the Moi family and he disintegrates KANU party completely. But Moi looks smarter, because his latest movement now ensures that Nick Salat remains suspended, and I can assure you that Nick Salat is going to be kicked out, because they know very well that there is a hidden hand that is using Nick Salat. The other thing that remains clear now is that when Gideon Moi gets holds of KANU party, he cannot go it alone because, as I said, they only have 4 members of parliament. So they will remain deeply rooted in Azimio for them to move forward in 2027. They also agreed that they are going to conduct party nominations as was requested by Nick Salat. So look, Nick Salat had thought that they would not accept any elections. Now they have said that there will be elections countrywide. They are going to elect fresh leaders, and I can assure you that Gideon Moi will still remain the chairman of KANU, while Nick Salat will miss a chance to become the Secretary General. So who is here? It is Nick Salat and whoever sent him. And then after these elections, they also said that they are going to conduct national recruitment of members. They want new members. So when this happens, the Azimio party will be stronger because KANU will still remain in Azimio. Back in Central, where Rigathi Gachagua wanted to unite all the leaders, I saw the Vice Chair, David Murathe, Vice Chair of Jubilee, and the Secretary General of Jubilee, Jeremiah Kioni, saying that they are deeply rooted in Azimio and they are going nowhere. Even though the Jubilee branch, Nairobi branch, are saying that they are collecting 10,000 signatures to move out of Azimio, the Secretary General and the Deputy Chair are saying that they are rooted in Azimio. So you can see, this is a battle between William Ruto, together with his Deputy Rigathi Gachagua, and the Azimio fraternity. One is trying to take away Jubilee, the other one is trying to take away KANU. Because I understand that William Ruto really wanted to ensure that either Gideon is finished completely so that he can go to political limbo, or he can come back and work with the UDA. Because look at people who tried wrestling power from Ruto. People like Isaac Ruto, people like Keter. Anybody who tried to grow horns in Rift Valley was annihilated. And Raila Amolo Odinga, like I told you, William Ruto is learning from Raila Amolo Odinga. There are leaders who tried sometimes back to compete with Raila. People like Anyang' Nyong'o, James Orengo. Both of them realized that they could not compete Raila. They came back. So Anyang' Nyong'o is now the governor of Kisumu County. Orengo is the governor of Siaya County. The others, people like Tuju, Onyango, Lo, Miguna, have tried, but it is at all or is not a walk in the park. So either William Ruto wanted to ensure that Gideon Moi is kicked out completely so that he can come and beg to work with him, or he gets people forget about him completely. And that is exactly what Rigathi Gachagua is doing. It is not working for them. And for the first time, Gideon Moi, a man who has been seen as maybe politically weak, has proved himself that he's in charge of KANU, he's getting hold of it, and he will be deeply rooted in Azimio. So William Ruto must go back to the drawing board because it's not working there. Rigathi Gachagua must also be forced to go back to the drawing board because Jubilee seems to be rooted. See, Jubilee, the person who is pulling strings from behind is the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta. And when you see David Murathe and Jeremiah Kioni saying that they're still in Azimio, you know what that means. They are speaking the mind of Uhuru Kenyatta. So ladies and gentlemen, the Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto must go back to the drawing board to see what else they can do. Because trying to cut off the branches is something that is not working for them. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? That is my take.